What's going on, guys? This is Gainz Gaming. Today we are talking about Scipio Prime and whether or not he is still a must invest for infantry players and for just the average player in Rise of Kingdoms. If you guys are new here, I am Gainz Gaming. I'm a sponsored content creator with Rise of Kingdoms, so if you're not subscribed yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you would do so. It is completely free to play for you, and it will keep you up to date on all things Rise of Kingdoms. So with Scipio Prime, he has always been regarded as one of the best infantry players in the game and one of the best commanders in the game. So you might be asking, why on earth would I be making this video if he's regarded as one of the best? Well, that's because there are a couple infantry commanders that were recently released that are even better in my opinion. These commanders include William Wallace. He is the newest infantry smite commander, as well as good old Luce. Now, Luce, in my opinion, is the #1 commander in the game. Not just in infantry, but overall, he is the #1 commander in the game, the must expertise commander that every single player should be using, in my opinion, because he is just that strong. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because so many people ask me, well, if I'm going to be investing into Luce, what is the best march to run with him? And some people really like the Scipio Luce. However, in my opinion, the William Wallace Luce is the best infantry march in the game without a shadow of a doubt. Now, does that mean that investing into Scipio is a bad idea? Not necessarily. I still think that he has a lot of viability, and in this video, I will be covering a couple different reasons why you might invest into Scipio for Scipio Luce rather than Wallace and Wallace Luce. And the first reason why I think people might invest into Scipio over William Wallace is just because of the investment tier that you need to use Scipio. In my opinion, you should be able to use Scipio Prime with a 5.5/1.1 and still be very viable in the open field, whereas William Wallace, I would say trying to get him to 5.5/5.1 is probably the minimum I would want to run him at. So in terms of budgeting, running Scipio is a cheaper option for the bare minimum march, because his third skill, even though it is very, very good, it is not 100% necessary in order to use him in the open field. You can still run him at 5.5/1.1 and still get a lot of the viability, versus running William Wallace, you really want that third skill all the way up. And his fourth skill, even though it is very, very good, it is not necessary that you need to have it maxed out to use him in the open field. And so if you are using Luce maxed out, the two best pairings you'd run with that are either Scipio Luce or William Wallace Luce. So number one, Scipio Prime is going to be a cheaper investment for a bare minimum. Now, obviously, eventually you want to expertise that. So Scipio would just be a starting point where you are going to start him at 5.5/1.1, max out Luce, and then continue to invest into Scipio Prime. Now, this can allow you to propel yourself into your second infantry march. Now, keep in mind, before I was just talking about one infantry march. If you are using two infantry marches, Scipio Prime is 100% going to be a must-use commander, because in my opinion, he is the #2 best infantry commander in the game, obviously after Luce, and I would put him in front of William Wallace. Now, that might make you ask, well, if he's better than William Wallace, why on earth would you not just invest into Scipio and not even consider William Wallace? It's because of the synergy you get from William Wallace and Luce. It's just simply better than the Scipio Prime and Luce. The reason why is smite damage. Scipio Prime is a skill damage commander and Luce is a smite damage commander. So the difference is skill damage versus normal attack damage. So you are getting a ton of benefit from skill damage in Scipio that you are not going to be utilizing with Luce, and vice versa, a ton of smite damage that you're not going to be using with Scipio. So obviously with William Wallace, you're getting that synergy with Luce, with the smite damage, with the normal attack damage, you're getting that synergy, versus with Scipio Prime, you simply are not. Now, the second reason why people might be investing into Scipio over William Wallace is because of armaments. The new armament and formation system is one of the main reasons why I have heard people say they're not investing into William Wallace, because they don't have any arch formations or armaments. So when you are investing into your commanders, a lot of times when people are opening up their armament chests, they are just automatically opening up the wedge formation, which personally, I have only opened up the wedge formation. I have honestly never used an arch formation, not even once. So every single arch formation that I have comes from traveling and from dispatches. And so if I look at my William Wallace here, I actually have gotten very, very lucky with the formations I've gotten from this. So these are all from traveling and from dispatch. Now, obviously this is from a long period of time of, traveling every single day, doing dispatches every single day, re-rolling things. And so you do have quite a bit of luck that goes into it. But when it comes to the arch formation, if you are running mostly skill damage commanders, which pretty much everyone is running almost all skill damage besides their one infantry march, you are probably going to be opening up the wedge formation every single time, which will give you much more benefit for having more wedge formations. And so you're just simply going to have better stats and better availability to use the wedge formation than the arch formation. So that might make you want to run the Scipio Prime with the wedge formation for the skill damage versus the arch formation for the normal attack damage. So that is really one of the main reasons I've heard people say they're going to invest into Scipio over William Wallace, is because of how good armaments are. And so that is definitely a valid reason to invest into Scipio, because you want to have that skill damage. And if you have mostly really good wedge formations and you don't have any for arch, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to use the one that you have the best armaments on, because those armaments do make a huge difference. If you don't have any good armaments for your William Wallace, it's just simply not going to be as good as if you had really good armaments on your Scipio. And so that really can sway the difference between what's better of William Wallace and Luce or Scipio and Luce, even though like if you took both of them without anything, the William Wallace would be far better. If you have better armaments on your Scipio, it makes more sense to go Scipio primary with your Luce. And plus you have that extra rage from the support tree on your Scipio Prime, which is also a pretty big benefit. However, with the addition of the Smite tree, that is another argument to use William Wallace, because personally, I use William Wallace primary because of the Smite tree, because of how good the Smite tree really is for William Wallace and Luce. So that's another reason why people might not invest into Scipio for their one infantry march. Now, again, like I said, if you are running more than one infantry march, Scipio Prime is a 100% must use. Even if it's only at 5511, you absolutely should be using Scipio if you're running 2 infantry marches. Now, if you are running the William Wallace and Luce, which in my opinion, again, is the best infantry march in the game, what else can you run? Because some people, they don't want to invest into Guan Yu. They don't want to invest into Herald. And yes, Scipio Herald is a very good march. You could also run Alex. There is a lot of different things you can do in this situation. But another commander that people really forget about that you can pair with Scipio Prime that is going to do really, really well is Mehmed. And Mehmed is going to be very solid because he's not only going to give you extra troop capacity, but he is also going to allow you to do more skill damage. And if you look at his museum buff, he does even more skill damage. So if we go into the museum buff, we find Mehmed, you're going to get an additional 30% troop health and 10% skill damage. That is unheard of. That is crazy. So when you pair that with your Scipio Prime, that is going to be phenomenal. Plus you get the double AoE value, which is just absolutely fantastic. So that's another commander you can pair with your Scipio Prime that's going to do really, really well. And that way you can have that second march if you don't want to invest into Guan Yu, if you don't want to invest into Herald, or if you haven't invested into Alex. It gives you that leeway where it's kind of that bridge commander before investing into another meta commander in the future, which obviously we have new commanders that are coming into game very, very frequently. And so the next time a really good infantry commander comes out, you can invest into that and pair that with Scipio and probably do very, very well with it. So that is why I think that Scipio Prime is, yes, he is a very, very good commander, but in some situations you might consider not investing in him if you are only going to be running one infantry march. Again, if you're running 2 infantry marches, he is 100% going to be a commander that you absolutely invest into. So in my opinion, again, one march, he's kind of iffy. Depends on whether you have really good armaments for the wedge formation, or if you are willing to invest into that arch formation, then in my opinion, going for the William Wallace Luce is definitely the better situation, because not only is it better with synergy, but also investing a little bit into that arch formation, even if it's only like 25% of your armament chest, I think it's definitely worth it. And personally, that's probably what I'm going to start doing as well, is investing more of my formation choice chest into the arch formation. But as of right now, I am investing into a 6th march, which is going to be another archer march, which is obviously going to be wedge. And so for me, I have 5 wedge commanders and I have 1 arch commander. So it makes way more sense for me right now to invest more into my wedge than into my arch, just because I have 5 commanders that can benefit from the wedge versus 1 commander that can benefit from the arch. So it really depends on what your situation is and where you find yourself. So let me know what you guys think down below, what you think of Scipio Prime and whether or not you think he is a must invest for your 1 infantry march, or if you agree with me and say that he's going to be the number 2 march in your infantry lineup. Comment down below what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.